talk about fear, because there is the First Amendment, freedom of speech, which is a sort of a legal disclaimer or legal provision. But we don't exercise freedom of speech most of the time because there's something inhibiting freedom of speech, which is generally fear. Fear of being attacked. Usually, if you say what you really think, saying what you really think is often called controversial. Controversial means you just said something that might trigger people's actual opinions. That's what controversial means. Saying something that in some ways activates, triggers, stimulates people's actual opinions. And if you do that, those people whose actual opinions are negative are very likely to attack you verbally, very likely to react to your expression of something that they object to with a backlash of saying how wrong you are and what a bad person you were to even think such a thing. Now, that's a verbal attack, and that you can live with more or less. But there's also underlying the verbal attack, there's the threat that if a certain percentage of people are willing to verbally attack you, then a smaller, an admittedly smaller, but still real and more threatening, more disturbing percentage of those who will react negatively to what you have stated because they have an opposite opinion. There's a smaller but more disturbing percentage of those people who are also going to be willing to physically attack you. And that's the real thing that keeps us from exercising freedom of speech most of the time. Because if your freedom of speech enters an area where people have opinions about, that will be called controversial. And anytime you enter the realm of controversy, there is this like almost there's almost the inevitability that you will be verbally attacked, but underlying that is the more disturbing, very real potential that you will be physically attacked. So this is an effective impedance of freedom of speech. This effectively, de facto, is a de facto what is the word anyhow? It's a threat to freedom of speech, because just the knowledge, just the consciousness of this fear inside of us, the consciousness of this threat, that if you say something in the realm of controversy, that there's somebody somewhere that will be willing to possibly kill you for it. And you can see in this age, I mean, people will kill you in these days for nothing, for no reason whatsoever. There's enough crazy people, enough crazy violent people in our wonderful, intelligent society that they'll kill you for, and just for being there, just for being within their range of their rifle of their weapons. They'll kill you. And any time that you do anything to bring attention to yourself, there's somebody that's likely to use you as a target. And if you give them the excuse that, ooh, you said something that they don't agree with, that's a ready-made excuse. And there's enough crazy people that you just don't want to draw attention to yourself. And that's the reality of our society in this world of 7 billion people and 20 billion firearms, or probably more than that. There's probably, how many guns are there per person on this planet? That's a question. How many guns per person are there on this planet? And that means each person that doesn't own a gun, let's say there's one gun per person. Let's say there's 7 billion guns on this planet, and I'm sure there are a lot more than 7. But just suppose there were 7 billion guns on this planet, equal to the number of people on this planet. Each person that doesn't have a gun would mean that there's somebody else that has an extra gun. There are some people that have hundreds of guns. How many guns do you need to kill you? Usually only one. How many guns does a person have to have before they pose a threat to anybody? Some people have one gun and are not a particular threat to most people in most situations. But when people start collecting dozens of guns and hundreds of guns, what is the likelihood that such a person is going to never use any of those guns on any other person? What is the likelihood there? And you'll start to see these every week. I mean, how often do you see news items of some mad gunman? Once a year? 4 times a year? Once a month? How many, if you were to scour the news for incidents of crazed gunmen, whether going to a school or in their workplace or in some city square, if you were to actually scan the news reports around the world of these incidents, how often would you find them? I think at least every week. You'd find at least 50 a year. And more likely, at least one every day. I'm talking about not even including war zones. When you start including war zones, you start looking at what kind of people want to go to war zones. Then you start to hit the real fundamental questions in our society. The controversial questions. The questions like, what kind of people are the most eager to join up for this so-called service? And what are people's motives? What are people's motives? How many people who... See, everywhere I go, there's flags. Flags saying, be patriotic. And flags, rah, rah, America. And support this and support that. And don't question what's going on, because then you're un-American and unpatriotic. And possibly a communist or a hippie or any of these other ostracizing words. Conspiracist. You're a conspiracist. You're a truther. A truther. Because truth in our society is one of the dirty words. One of the dirtiest things that you can call a person in a society that's based on fucking bullshit and lies is a truther. One of the nastiest, dirtiest things that you can do in a society that's based on brainwashing and bullshit is to bring up the truth. This is what is offensive in such a society. The truth is the most offensive thing to a society that's based on lies and bullshit. And a society is based on lies and bullshit is based on people whose minds are full of deceit and bullshit. Those people whose lives are based on deceit and dishonesty and insincerity, people who are have a basic personality trait of insincerity, and this is a basic personality trait of many people. Insincerity. This is one of the basic personality compass directions. There's sincerity or there's insincerity. And there are a lot of people whose compass direction is pointing towards insincerity from the time they're born to the time they die. And those people fail to understand. You see, the one thing that people who are basically insincere seem, most of them, unable to even grasp is that a sincere person doesn't need to go around swearing to how sincere they are, saying, "Oh, I swear to you," look you in the eye and tell you, "I am so sincere, I really mean this, and I'm telling you the honest to God truth. I swear to God, and I'm going to raise my hand and make signs, and if you have a Bible, I'm going to put my hand on it and kiss it." Make gestures toward whatever your holy scripture thing is, or whatever your holy amulet is of some sort or the other. Your holy fetish item, whatever it is, I will raise my hand and make all these vows and swears to this, to whatever it is that you think verifies somebody telling the truth. That a sincere and honest and genuine person doesn't feel the need to do this. And this is said nowhere more explicitly than in the Bible itself. Alleged to have been said by the main character of the whole Christian Bible, the whole New Testament. The main character, the guy that Christianity is supposedly named after, said, if you're an honest person, you should not and ought not, you shouldn't need to and oughtn't feel that you in any way compelled to swear to your veracity. You should, if you're honest and you know it, that should be enough. And if you are honest and you make it a habit of your life to be honest, and everybody around you, everybody who knows you is familiar with this, that this is your personality trait, you not only shouldn't need to swear to your honesty, but you should refrain from doing so. Because swearing to your honesty, the one thing it does is it indicates that you are probably trying to cover something up. Because honest people do not need, and sincere people do not need, to swear to their sincerity and their honesty. And this is a thing that insincere, deceitful, dishonest people seem, most of them, incapable of grasping. So they try to imitate an honest person. They try to imitate a sincere person by saying, "Oh, I swear, I'm telling you the truth. I swear by everything holy. I swear by this Bible, which I have never read, and if I ever read any of it or heard any of it, never was capable of grasping what was said in it. That I am telling you the honest to God, absolute truth. I swear And I will put my hand on this book, and I will raise my other hand, and I will make whatever other gestures that you require of me to vow that I'm telling the absolute truth and I wouldn't lie to you. See, an honest person doesn't go around saying, I wouldn't lie to you. A sincere, genuine, honest person doesn't feel the need to say, I wouldn't lie to you, because somebody who actually wouldn't lie expects you to recognize the fact that they wouldn't lie. And the deceitful, insincere people, time after time, they fail to grasp this simple fact.